Greetings, my name is Eve, and in today's video we'll take a look at this special set of paints. What I have here is SuperVision's Ocean Paradise set of 10 tubes. The unique element of these paints is that they are layered colors and that they have a mica component. This set feels like it's part of the current trend of having more textured paints, but this time with the addition of a shimmer effect through the mica. The set includes, like I said, 10 tubes, each containing 8 milliliters of paint. The colors don't have a name, just a number. Also, 2 of these are chameleon colors, meaning that the shimmer effect is meant to change depending on how you look at the piece. The whole set traveled well, protected by a sturdy box and foam inserts. I prepared swatches with half of them being black and the other half being the white of the paper. This way I can see how the paints look depending on the background color. There are 2 chameleon colors, 311, which is a red and blue pigment base with a turquoise mica, and 309, which is a green and brown pigment base with an aqua pink or blue-pink mica. Then we have the non-chameleon colors, starting with 321, a blue and pink pigment base with turquoise mica. Then we have 322, a purple pigment base and pale gold mica. 323, a warm gray pigment base with rich gold mica. 327 is slightly different as it's more opaque than the others. It's a blue and red pigment base with pale gold mica. Then we have 329, which has a purple pigment and warm gold mica. 312, which has a green pigment base and aqua mica. 317, which has a green pigment base and pearl mica. Finally, 305, which has an orange base and pink mica. I didn't feel like my initial swatches showed the dual color pigment bases well, so I did a few more swatches on other pieces of paper. I made these new swatches really messy on purpose, with a lot of water. I let the paint settle and dry. I'll go through the colors again with these swatches so you can see how the paint behaved. The mica settled in place quite nicely. You can see it stayed put even if the water in the paint made backgrounds. I can't see the double colors in the mica of one of the chameleon colors. The other shifts from a pink to a blue-purple color. Throughout the 10 colors, some have a more obvious granulation or separation effect. For the rest of them, it can be very hard to spot, if it's there at all. In terms of rewettability, the first time I used the paint, I poured them in this palette and I let it dry, and then I came back later to paint more swatches and more paintings, and I found out that these paints rewet really well. All I had to do was to drop in a bit of water, like a couple of drops in each well, and let it sit for a minute or two, and I was able to reuse the paint without any issue. They dried well, they didn't crack, they didn't fall off the palette, and I'm really happy with that. I've said this before, but it's always a bit tricky for me to find ways to use shimmer paints. I made 2 demo paintings for this video. In the first one, I used the paints to do the magical part in the drawing, like the magic lantern and the fairy. I also decided to make the little cat mage's outfit extra special by layering the special colors on top of a base color. And then I made the floor and the backdrop with them too. At this point I figured, why not? I ended up with this very shimmery painting. I made the base layer with my paints from Paul Rubens and then used the shimmer paints on top. Working this way with the special colors, the color from the pigment disappears a bit or it just becomes a tint. Only the mica effect is more visible. It's a way to use this paint, but it doesn't really make the best of its characteristics. I wanted to make a second demo too, in line with the theme of this box, Ocean Paradise. I decided to use just the paints, without underpainting, and also to go a bit overboard on purpose. I wanted to see how far it can go. And it ended up a bit messy too, but it allowed me to notice quite a few great things. First, the amount of shimmer in the paint is not too concentrated, and in the painting it made for nice sheen and shimmer just in certain places. It didn't become overwhelming or too present. There are areas where you don't see any shimmer, even if I used shimmery paint for everything. Then, the various colors I used for this wet and wet painting all stayed put, connecting seamlessly with the other colors. They didn't spread out too far or mixed too much. And I added another little test for these paints. I painted simple leaf shapes on a piece of paper. I wanted to see if these would work well for stylized floral paintings. I think they made really pretty shapes and the paint worked out well for these here. I can't say much more as I'm not very familiar with this style of painting. Overall, there are some colors in there that I really like, and the others I think are quite lovely, just less striking or special. I have a few notes. First, these are made with natural mica, with no info on sourcing. People who insist on ethical micas in their paints might have to pass on these, as we just don't know the mica's source. Another note would be that these paints, as a set, are a bit on the expensive side. As far as I know, they are not available as open stock. I'll have links to the set in the description box if you want to check it out. I think they would make a really fun gift to an artist or a multimedia crafter or journaler. Again, big thanks to SuperVision for sending me these paints. Let me know what you think about these in the comments below, and see you guys next time. Take care, bye bye.